Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the fastest Terran out there. In the red, it's Team Liquid's Clem. And his greatest rival, probably the only Protoss to really give him competition at this point. It's the mysterious MaxPax in the blue. A best of 3 Terran versus Protoss showdown. And once again, the kids' table is set. And if you recall, these two players have gone back and forth so many times. I think Clem has the edge, but either way, I think there will be some good games for the fans. And if you agree, or if that's what you're looking forward to, it'd be awesome if you could like, and if you haven't made it there yet, maybe even subscribe. But, I mean, the schedule's pretty well set at this point. But Jimmy, what are we... 1,373 likes on this video, on this cast. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. As a Stargate, an ambitious choice, deviating from the Blink Stalker meta in order to take to the skies. The Stargate less common because, well, partially of this unit that Clem already has in production. The Cyclone, to start things off. It really means you have to be so careful with your very first Stargate units. Widow Mines, of course, are a threat. But the Cyclones add a lot of anti-air potential. They have bonus damage against mechanical units. And not so coincidentally, every unit out of the Stargate is mechanical. Quite convenient for that Cyclone. So, while Phoenixes can be a counter, picking up the Cyclone and either holding it there or putting it down in the midst of your units can be a very helpful tool. It also is a very capable anti-air option. But MaxPax knows what he's dealing with. He sees the clone. The Adept doesn't quite get away. Phoenix is here. But lock-on is broken immediately. Cooldown is started. It's a short one. But the Phoenixes can help to break the lock if necessary. So Clem just... I can't believe he gets away with this. Whenever I do this, I lose the game 2 minutes later because I lose all of these units. He just throws a bunch of units into a bag and empties that bag out on the front porch of MaxPax and somehow manages to gather it all up and go back home after MaxPax is scrambling to defend. He manages to kill an Adept and get away with it. He got away with murder. You can't just walk across the map with one Cyclone and a stick of bubblegum and a couple shoelaces. Well, maybe if you're Clem, you can. And he's got a Cloak Banshee on the way behind. When you go for Stargate, you don't have as much detection. We'll show you how to fly, Reaper. Well, Phoenixes. Make that Reaper jump his last. Still confirmed, and a Robo Bay on the way behind. So, a mech toss composition. Straight into Phoenix Colossus, pretty much skipping anything but a handful of gateway units to acknowledge you need some defense. Couple Cyclones and a bunch of Marines on the ground for Clem. And he snuck a Banshee up to the north side. You might think a Banshee, not the ideal choice against Mass Phoenix, but it's one of those hidden in plain sight, and with a cloaking device sort of situations. Phoenixes come in, they use all their energy to kill SCVs, which means he won't have much energy to deal with this push. Clem is going for a 2-base Cyclone timing. Banshee's in the main, not even a hint of a shield battery there. The 3rd base, not built for MaxPax, so Clem not going to really have a target to focus on. But he still has enough units here. Slaps down a bunker. But the Phoenix takes down the Banshee with the help of an Observer. Going straight into the Robo may very much help out. He's going to try to use the Reaper Wall Pylon against MaxPax here. You might keep out one Terran unit, but the rest of them will take full advantage. And those Marines, through some magical bending of the laws of physics, will curve their bullets around and take down the pylon, which depowers a gate. The Cyber Core, but that's not particularly relevant here. The Phoenix is looking for an opportunity. The bunker on the low ground. Another bunker is on the way. Not really even a bunker rush, but instead just a bunker standoff. The French bunker standoff, a classic tactic. And jamming him into the corner, making this base Clem's own. What MaxPax would usually want to take as a 3rd. And MaxPax cutting off reinforcements, but the Stargate itself, it was attached to that first pylon, and now in range of the siege tanks. As MaxPax looking to defend back at home. Oh no, the Stargate. Oh, down goes a Phoenix, cutting off reinforcements, but the SCVs. Oh, they got it. Okay. Almost make the save there. Stargate is taken out, obliterated by the tanks from the low ground. And these two starting off early. Actually, we're 7 minutes into the game, when usually in a macro game, both players will be well over 100 supply. I guess they're not too far off. But instead of having full production, MaxPax is down to 1 robo and 1 gate. That's not enough. Like, that is just not enough production. SCV spotted the 3rd. He has a decent army. He has the Phoenixes. He's kept most of them alive. They've built up energy. Extended thermal lance is about to complete, but the bunkers are holding the line right now. He's even got a missile turret in there. The turrets per minute might be low, but the efficiency of those turrets is high, and that's what's important. The siege tanks. Now, there's no really extricating yourself from this position. In fact, the siege tanks moved in, and MaxPax moving in right at that moment. There's still an observer. Clem is somewhat stranded on this side of the map. The Phoenixes, did he spot the mines? It's unclear. But gonna cut off a few more SCVs. The Phoenixes need to keep reinforcements from joining up with the army, because if MaxPax is either able to pull back and put all these units together, or just reinforce this position and continue pushing forward, it's not gonna be a good time for MaxPax. All right, that's, I know, strong words, but I'm standing by. The Widow Mine's picked up and knocked down in pieces. Big pick off there, and keeps all the Phoenixes alive, though many of them badly bruised, and SCVs are the only ones who can repair them, and I don't think they're going to be so obliging. 3 Colossi done, making full use of that 1 robotics facility. Where's your combat shield, Clem? Oh my. The most forgotten, but also most critical upgrade. And now he noticed. Ooh, a pretty big mistake out of Clem. Losing 10, or not having that extra 10 HP, is the difference between getting incinerated by the extended thermal lances immediately and surviving a single volley and potentially taking down the Colossi. I think Clem being a little more timid here because of that lack of, well, 1+1, and 2, the combat shield. And Clem's still hanging out. The outpost, Clem's outpost at the front, denying MaxPax's base. Clem has a 3rd. We're just pretending like this is still going. It's still happening. The Phoenix is cutting off the reinforcements. Viking and Marauders cut off as well. This is the longest bunker rush I've ever seen. This is like those Wings of Liberty builds, when you do a 2-base push for like 8 minutes straight. And it's going on it. He wants to break out. Charge is about to complete. +1. As soon as he realizes... Oh, Clem feels it too. He knows. He's going to try to pull back. He's keeping the bunkers there. MaxPax can see the bunkers. I think he saw that the tanks have pulled back. But Clem backs off. Don't expect some of us in the bunker, brothers. And... Oh, the Viking. No, not the Viking. Phoenix flew through. The tanks are trying to come back home. Here comes the evacuation crew. The medevacs are able to pick them up. What a save. And the Vikings will cover the retreat. And Clem manages to get out with the vast majority of his units. In fact, the bunkers and turrets are still out there. But MaxPax has a decent army supply. Not as decent if he wanders his zealots into the siege tanks, though. And while this... Well, zealots into the main. The charge lots. Clem already evacuated all his SCVs. Meanwhile, MaxPax attacking into the 3rd. That's not gonna happen. Siege tank setup. Clem is not really respecting the charge lots in the main, but he already evacuated the SCVs, sent them to the low ground, knowing he does not want to split his attention right now. Vikings hit the deck, and the Colossi are stumbling back home. So it takes out the mine. The bunkers remain. This is, well, Clem has a massive supply lead, but the royal but. Am I allowed to say that? Moving on. The bunkers finally. Well, he stims in the bunkers, of course, but And micros his way back, tries to buy every last moment, but eventually those Marines are cut to pieces by the very angry charge lots, and with good reason. I mean, that was a multi-bunker-sized thorn in his side. Clem not able to translate it into an outright victory, but 124 to 95 army supply. He has more workers. Clem's at 69 SCVs, which puts him in a nice economic position to bring this home. A single Ruptor, which, well, is more like a thought and or prayer here against Clem. 199 supply. Once he ramped up that production, Clem able to really turn out the Marines and Marauders so quickly. And now MaxPax has his work cut out for him. He's finally dealt with the forward push, but how does he deal with this army? He does still have 4 Colossi, which, with this many Vikings on the field, still very dangerous. But the Phoenixes remain. 3 of them, at least. Some cover. That's enough to give Clem maybe a moment's pause before engaging the army. But if the Vikings are able to find the right angle, and MaxPax is acutely aware of it, Disruptor shot finds a connection. EMP softens things up. Another EMP completely misses the mark. Knocks down a Colossus. Picking off more Phoenixes with Vikings. Another good Disruptor hit. Actually connects with the army. And in the main base, the Warp Prism still has some charge lots inside. The Viking fleet microing back. Beautiful micro so far from Clem. Knocking down all but 1 Colossus. Disruptor shot from the high ground. Knocks Clem back, but charge lots from the Warp Prism. Keeping it together. And now, a wave of High Templar warped in. Actually recalls the Prism. Gets it out of there. I don't know if Clem noticed that was happening, but the Vikings are going to chase it. I don't think he saw the recall. Obviously, it was out of vision, but it was in sensor tower range. Clem with another half-hearted tank push. Yeah, that's not going to do it. There's the high ground vision, yes, but Disruptor shot around the corner. The terrestrially... Anyways, you have to fire them on the ground, and they have to go around, and that's really annoying for the Purification Novus. Okay? Terrestrially bound. Wow, that was needlessly fancy. Just like the Disruptors on Terran. I got caught on that sentence. Another base attempted, but Clem bops it with the Medivacs. The Colossi strung out, going multiple directions. Charge lots +2 attack done against 1-1 for Clem. Disruptor shot wards away, but Clem dances back. More units caught. The Disruptor easily popped after firing its shot. And into the main, Clem, where he couldn't claim before, is now landing the EMPs across the board onto the Archons as they come up the ramp. And another army is headed out. Clem picks up, oh my, very dead Ghost. But 30 supply gets away in those medevacs. There's still a there's still a Cyclone. There was still a Cyclone. Or he rebuilt one for some reason, but I doubt it. Spylon is taken out. MaxPax still holding 9 gates. He's got just 1 robo. He's holding on to 4 bases, 67 workers apiece. Clem has 4 bases as well, but he hasn't been able to find that critical fight. He hasn't been able to find that opportunity where he just takes out a base and the army. If you get the army or you get a base, well, MaxPax still has options. But it's those fights when you kind of grind down a base while picking off stuff like Colossi that Clem seems to find so often. But he's not quite getting it here. But collabing with Skrillex on his new album, it looks like he's interested in dropping the base. Meanwhile, Disruptor shots flung out. Broadside doesn't find too much as Clem maintains 199 supply. Puts a little more. Oh, but a big hit! Headshot! Multi-headshot! As 15 supply evaporates instantaneously. MaxPax holds. Drop heads in towards the main. Another Ruptor shot. Clips some Marauders. There's not enough for MaxPax to defend. Another shot obliterates the Marines and Marauders. And they go flying. As Clem, a bit lackadaisical in the micro. Meanwhile, Marines in the main. The Colossus comes back to defend. Disruptors targeted down. But the medevacs aren't quite enough to stall out the charge lots. Another command center is landed, but not a planetary. It can still evacuate, but also vulnerable to the Stalkers. The fadeaway shots, the dangerous force field to the Purification Nova still zoning out. Clem forced to micro back. picks up into the medevacs. The SCVs will die in the flying command center. And MaxPax finally gets a much-needed win on the field. MaxPax struggling this entire game to take any real fight against Clem. His charge lot run-bys have been good. His disruptor shots have been solid. But he manages to take out a base and a bunch of the army. He did exactly what Clem needs to do to him that I was just talking about. The pylon gets targeted, and a manageable amount of zealots. A bite-sized amount. Obviously not for the zealots here. But he's able to grind through the probes. And even 2 medevacs of bio, with some ghosts, of course, as well. And into the main, disruptor shot! Oh, we caught the tail end! And there's not much else to talk about as the disruptor slams home. One more time. Slow-mo, please. Okay, one more time. We gotta go back a little further. Chrono regression. Let's go to the MaxPax camp. Struggling. Hey, that's the Clem camp. I know the difference. Meanwhile, MaxPax trying to scramble to deal with this. Blinks over. Has observers in a great spot. That's such a key part. And... down they go. Gets a ghost as well, and for the first time, a sizable lead in supply for MaxPax. Clem trying to dodge with the medevacs, but units in medevacs can't shoot. At least this patch. So... still, another shot, finds a single Viking, but Clem is shoved off of his base. Another disruptor, only a couple Marines, but so many Ruptor shots raining through. Another fadeaway, and he's staggering them so well, obliterating another half dozen SCVs. And just like that, Clem is down to 38 SCVs. Oh, no. They're finally landing. MaxPax just staggering out the shots, semi-auto disruptors. The forge is at the back of the base, supposedly a defensible location, but the medevac's using it against him. It's not like MaxPax has a huge economy either. He's only got 54 probes, and both players have mined out of their first 2 bases. So struggling to find any more. The Vikings lift up. The Marine Marauder stim away. Another command center may be taken down. Indeed it is by the Stalkers. But reinforcements are cut off by the vast majority of Clem's army. There's actually too many medevacs here. There's a Viking on the ground. Did he drop a Viking in? Of course he did. More EMPs. 2-2 for Clem against 1-3 for MaxPax. +3 weapons, +1 armor. Which about evens out here. So no decisive advantage on that front. Liberator, but look at the other way. Clem microing in MaxPax's main, and MaxPax clocks him for it. 169 to 131 supply for Clem. There's only 1 disruptor shot left, but he doesn't target it in time. And there's not enough units to take out the Blink Stalkers. And MaxPax actually makes the difference. The medevacs scramble to the corner, but where you gonna go? Who you gonna call? MaxPax already has the Ghostbusters, and they cool down every 20 seconds. The disruptors continue. Clem still has the planetary at the 4th. The medevacs have to get out. MaxPax didn't blink in time to intercept any of this. The disruptors caught on the field. Clem still willing to fight. Takes down the Immortal. SCVs left behind. More medevacs boosting away. But MaxPax landing the hits, keeping Clem distracted, and not quite able to target down the Ruptors. MaxPax has to be careful, though. There's nothing more dangerous than a Terran cornered. Well, besides a Terran who's not cornered, but not to be pedantic. MaxPax holding on to double the workers now. And Clem doesn't even have that many mineral patches. Oh, no. Well, disruptor shot doesn't find the mark, but there's no EMPs quite yet. And the Archons are absorbing so much damage. Where are those medevacs? The medevacs with everyone inside. It's a disaster. GG. MaxPax holds. The patience, the stamina, the tenacity, the wherewithal, the grit. And the sheer spite of those bunkers. MaxPax holds. He didn't even deal with them till well after they were relevant. And he turns it around. And he takes the game. Clem doesn't make it easy. In fact, it looked like he may just run him over like he's done many times before. But not this time. This time, MaxPax landed the hits, and he kept Clem at bay. He never lost that critical fight that we usually see as the turning point. The fight that you lose key units and a base. Whenever he lost units, it wasn't also trading his economy. Which sounds like, duh, obviously, that's how you just play the game. Yeah, easier said than done. But if you have more tips, obviously, just leave them in the comments with the great balanced discussions that happen there. After you like and subscribe, of course. As we go to game 2, a Macarex out of Clem. The Macarex strategy is over half his age. But almost half his age. No. Okay, well, anyways, it's like a 2011 strat of, what if I pretended to proxy Rex but didn't commit too hard so that way I don't lose too much time economically? And I just put it at the natural so they freak out. And that strategy still effective to this day. It's not a huge commitment to build your barracks a little bit outside the base. And if they decide to try to punish you for it, you can always float it back in. And if they don't notice it or don't realize, they might play overly defensive. Of course, I think MaxPax has seen this out of Clem before. The response is not going to be particularly complicated, I imagine. A shield battery at the natural and some chrono boost on the gate. And not giving... another key part is not giving it too much respect. You don't want to give him too much of an opportunity to take advantage of you, because Clem, you give him an inch, he'll take a kilometer. There we are. Not even a shield battery. He's actually building reactor reapers. What in the... He's doing a TVT build here. Well, not exactly. Usually you don't go reactor first, because then you just die to the first Reaper, but... Clem pulling some off of gas to make sure he has enough to expand. The Reapers. Will he chase down the probe? Huh. He's gonna send one Reaper and show it to the probe. Which, I'm not sure what to make of this now, if I'm MaxPax. Like, that Reaper didn't come in particularly quick, but it implies that there was a Macarex. But I'm certainly not expecting more. There's a single shield battery done. Probe slipping around. He did not see the expansion. But the probe evades the Reapers. And we'll see two more on the way. MaxPax sees all. Beautifully done. And MaxPax now has most of the info that's relevant here. He knows he's expanding. He knows it's a reactor Reaper. So I'm kind of surprised we're not seeing a shield battery in the main either. As, yeah, Clem not going to be intimidated by one Stalker. Two more. Throwing the grenades out there. Actually just slipping by into the mineral line. Probes are pulled. Two probes dead. 4, 5. The grenade keeps the Stalkers at bay. 9 probes. It's a pretty big problem. The thing is, MaxPax is immediately going into Blink Stalkers here, which means he's going to have counter pressure nearly immediately. So, even though Clem did damage, he traded a lot of his early army for it. Well, losing one Stalker certainly doesn't help. But Clem is trying to play zone defense at the moment. And, oh, saves it. Of course. Honestly, that we expect so much out of these players that it feels like a mistake to not be dodging all of the Stalker shots with the medevac. Technically, he dodged enough of them because the Cyclone survived. He can repair him. It's relatively cheap to do so. 4 times less than actually building a new one, but let alone the time it takes to build one. But still, seeing him actually eat stalker shots from range and not pick it up into the medevac, it's like, oh, is he slipping? Observer, giving an opportunity. Observer will be spotted, but the stalkers are already here. They hit so early, and because Clem went for this early aggression, he doesn't have multiple tanks to work with. He's already, like, he's got everything else on the other side. 7 kills on the SCVs, and now we'll recall back the stalkers. It looks like he's gonna get all of them home. Gets the medevac. Oh my, he's gonna have his cake, and metaphorically, of course, going to eat it too. Well, 8 SCVs down, Clem down, 9 workers now. And the stalkers are maintained. So the difference here is that MaxPax didn't really lose any units to do that economic damage. But if he wanders into siege tank fire, of course, that might not be true. But he just prancing his way. Oh my god, he actually catches the tank! And another tank as well. Clem caught out. MaxPax taking no prisoners. Clem tried to pull back. Just a target of opportunity. MaxPax getting so much done with the Blink Stalkers. And Clem, this game, not able to wield any sort of early aggression. Not going to have any sort of advantage. MaxPax will now have 3 bases, the comfortable economy, and map control. He has the ability to say when and where Clem can move out. And limit it severely. Raven, maybe try to get something at the back, but poking in. And Stim not done yet, which means the Stalkers have an easy enough time picking off individual Marines. Would love to get some Marauders, but not getting anything helps. And this is still a precarious timing for MaxPax. He's finishing up gates, up to 8 gateways here. And this is when he hasn't yet been able to warp in enough units to necessarily deal with Clem's army. But he's using this choke point at the watchtower. Grinding through some more Marines. And the warp prism. Charge? Charge? Charge is done. Okay. So that means charge lot warp-in's a real threat. MaxPax has greedily taken a 4th base, which certainly it could be a boon, or it could work against him. And again, the force field's optimistic. They end up just filtering the charge lots in a way that makes it even harder. But he does hold on to the 4th, and Clem is forced back. Does he have a 3rd command center done? He does, just now floating it over. Not even an orbital, which means he wants to get it down there as soon as possible. He has plenty of SCVs. But it's a very... Ooh. Oh no. Oh no. Oh my, that close. Thankfully Clem didn't manually target, or he could have fired both off at once and knocked out the prism. But instead, the prism is now just permanently damaged and very sad. But MaxPax, he has an observer in front of all of this. The force field, again, but Immortal helping out as well. Couple more Whittle Mines. Accidentally picks up. Gonna need to pull some SCVs. There's still a bunch of charge lots in the main. The SCVs here targets down the Immortal, but it's now Marauders against Stalkers. Easily dealt with. But charge lots against SCVs is a much more favorable matchup for MaxPax. Another warp-in, and there's no anti-air. MaxPax with the presence of mind to realize there's no Marines, no Whittle Mines, and definitely no Vikings. Which means he can continue streaming in units from his warp gates, and now take the orbital, take out a bunch of SCVs, and maybe... Well, I was about to say the game, but I may have spoken too soon. Those are Stim Marines and Marauders. Another Whittle Mine knocks out. A single Colossus may want to reconsider, but into the main base, and MaxPax with the clean 2-0. A hard-fought game 1 and a well-fought game 2. And that brings us to our bonus game of Classic versus Oliveira. Yes, I thought we would get an idea of what the, well, not all Korean, but the other side of the story. Classic and Oliveira, some tried and true, much more pragmatic players than constantly aggressive. So, yes, our anti-spoiler bonus game. You thought Clem might turn it around with his dastardly Terran tricks. No, not this time. MaxPax, oh my god. Now, most important, we get, you know, there are two types of people that I don't like in my games, which are people who discriminate against others and the Dutch. So thankfully we got the Dutch out of there. I don't know what happened, but apparently the Netherlands lost internet connection, which is great for me. Like and subscribe. But Oliveira, who is still technically the reigning world champion because of the quirks of how I Am Katowice is no longer considered the world championship. That's the Esports World Cup coming up next month. But, and then Classic, who has been showing some incredible Protoss versus Zerg, but Protoss versus Terran, still a difficult matchup for pretty much everyone but the player we just saw. So, MaxPax just... Now, I think that's the other side of it. We saw it, if you watched the most recent ESL Cup finals, you're like, which one? And to which I say, pretty much most of them when it comes to MaxPax versus Clem. Clem didn't miss a single beat. MaxPax maybe a quarter step behind with his blink micro, and Clem ends up making disruptors look almost useless. But this time around, Clem just a little bit slow on the draw, and that ends up putting MaxPax in prime position to show off that top-tier micro. But now, Classic up against Oliveira. Oliveira dancing around with the first Reaper. As one does. Cyclone's on the way. Looks like we're going to have a similar start, as this is the more typical meta. The Stargate, the exception to the Blink Stalker rule. Now, the level of aggression, how many gates, whether you get a robo, all these fancy things, that is what is kind of left more to dealer's choice. Oh, what? What? Why did he lift the orbital? Did he? Oh, he built it off-center because of the probe. And then the adept tried to block it a little longer after it finished. I see. But a 2-base barracks push. Not going to be that heavy tech play. No starport at all out of Oliveira. But instead, a stim Marine Marauder siege tank timing. Already a shield battery on the way. Robo. Does he think he can get to Robo Bay? Or is he just going to try his hand at defense? Because this is very much focused on getting the damage done with stim and combat shield. Oliveira is going to try to knock out Classic before he can get a third base up and running. Of course, Classic hasn't even tried for a third yet. But that should be the focal point of this entire push. NG Bay on the way. Another gas. I think he sees there's no third, and Oliveira now adding on more infrastructure. In fact, oh, notices the probe. But because there's no third means you're attacking into an even economy, the even level of army, as opposed to someone who's trying to invest a lot more into their economy. So, Oliveira progressing up the tech tree. 4 Stalkers. The MaxPax special. Gets in. SCV looking for a couple more, but you can tell these two much less hectic. MaxPax and Clem, every single unit, almost every single shot from those units is being used to try to get some damage done. Whereas Oliveira and Classic, a lot more content to sit back and build up. All right. Well, the build-up is mostly completed. It's spotted here. The observer is in prime position to see all that. Oliveira has to expect it. Gonna be slapping down a third command center. No concussive shell to break the knees, the many knees of those stalkers. Colossi are out. Classic has a couple shield batteries out in front. He was expecting that frontal timing. But Oliveira's kind of just sat back. Hasn't really focused on it at all. So now, it's a whole bunch of will they, won't they? As neither player has a huge amount of workers. They've been kind of stopping and starting worker production. Bit of a cold war at the moment. As they poke and prod and see when the other is willing to move out and actually commit. The Templar Archives now on the way. Observer will spot all this. Oliveira. How is +1 done? Does he know about the Observer? Because that could be absolutely devastating. Classic understands the map is dark and full of Terrans. So he lights it up with the obs. And now Oliveira being very cautious. God. They're just prancing around. The tone shift from MaxPax versus Clem, which is just these rapid fire stabs like a knife fight in a phone booth, to these two who feel like they're playing mail-in chess right now. Right. I moved my probe to Nexus 12 o'clock, and my army will move. But I see you moving your army, so I will retreat. Come on, guys. Well, Storm's on the way. Oliveira does have a supply lead. Does he have a Ghost Academy? He does not. So that Storm could be devastating. And the War Prism is spotted. The lock-on. Does he not have auto lock-on? Or it tried to lock onto his ally that was immediately broken by a War Prism pickup. War Prism falls back. Is that +1 air weapons Classic? Classic is always like looking for only a third of an excuse to go for a carriers. He loves carriers. But that's definitely an optimistic choice. We are a long way off that being the option. The Observer is so good. Oh my god. The Storm. Absolutely devastating. Every single siege tank is coated with Storm. The force fields are... Well, I'm not sure they're helping more. Once again, I'm not ever confident that force field is a real option. But the Storms just obliterate, melting through most of Oliveira's army. Now remembering a Ghost Academy is probably a good skill to have. But after one dramatic moment now, Classic up 15 supply. Oliveira without anything to directly deal with the Archons. And Classic, I think there's no reason not to just attack in. He's about to have +1 armor. Looks like he's waiting that out. And then, yeah, couple Templar. Liberators with a Venn diagram of freedom there are going to make things more difficult, but Classic with full control of the situation. 3 ghosts on the way. Stargate. I do think now he has the opportunity to go for carriers, if that is his intent. I like how he went for +1 air weapons before building a Stargate. Ah, yes. Like putting the upgrade before the air horse. Probably could have done better. Like that one. Viking almost gets the prism. Two more Stargates, and the fleet beacon is lit and immediately scanned. Wait, where's the fleet beacon? There it is. That means Oliveira is going to feel a little bit more hasty. But Classic is maxed out. Oliveira trying to move out for a fourth. Classic, of course, sees that as an objective to be accomplished. There are ghosts. The siege tank's kind of out in front. Scan, spots the Templar. Storm's not finding much. And, well, the ghosts caught on the wrong side of things here. A very odd position for a lag spike, as it appears mid-fight. And Oliveira struggling, putting a big question mark on the end of this here. But, and a G. Well, of all the games we could have picked, that was certainly one of them. But I think quite a contrast to the aggression and the drama of MaxPax versus Clem. Instead, the intermittent, lag-infested patience of Classic versus Oliveira. Jimmy, we gotta vet these better. But, well, certainly a contrast. So, hopefully, you enjoyed a bit of everything there. And hopefully it made your day just a little bit better. Thank you for watching. If you got the means of motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free for now. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.